To the chair, how much time is remaining?
17 minutes.
Thank you. One of the things that we want to make clear about the resolution of inquiry that was drafted and introduced by the gentleman from Ohio is that it is an intent to get an answer for the American people. And what we want to do is be fair, both in providing them the answer and in terms of the people who could be the mysterious hidden hand behind this amendment. We want to get to the bottom of it. We do not want to rush to judgment, cast aspersions on others. We believe that this would be very fair to all involved, especially someone like Secretary Geithner, who no one has said was in the room, who himself has not said whether he was or wasn't. We do not want to prejudge the situation. We would like and welcome Democratic support for this, because we believe that in many ways the Democratic majority was as blindsided by this amendment as was anybody else. Of course, we warned that it might take time to read the bill that you vote on, but in the end, I truly don't believe that the majority of Democrats in this body supported and approved and wanted to protect the AIG bonuses. We have to be fair about that. But what they do have the opportunity to participate in now is to get behind the resolution of inquiry so that they can show their constituents that they want a fair, orderly process to get the answer to the question of who was the hidden hand behind the mystery amendment. We also would like to have the support of members of the general public who could participate in this, put forward their own theories of who was the hidden hand. And if they choose to do so, they can email me at thaddeus@republicanhousepolicy.com with their potential motives for this mystery amendment and who they believe could be the hidden hand. As we have seen throughout this process, someone did this. Now, I can understand why no one is rushing up to accept the quote-unquote credit for this fine and noble amendment, but we need to know. Again, we welcome Democratic participation. We welcome public participation. But one of the things we should not do is let this opportunity pass us by to get to the bottom of this, because the worst thing that could happen is for this to recur. I don't think that is in the interests of the American people, and I don't think it's in the interest of anyone who was elected to serve them in this chamber. We are sent here to vote on important matters of the day. We are sent here to make very important decisions as the employees of the sovereign American people. And they deserve to know what we're voting on, because they have to go home and account. And when they don't know what they're voting on, and in many ways get caught in an honest mistake supporting a larger issue while another issue festers beneath the surface, they will be called to account for something they had no way of knowing. The vast majority of members wanted to know what was in that bill. They were not allowed the time to do so. That is unfortunate. But let us prevent that from happening again. Let us get to the bottom of the mystery of the hidden hand so that members will know what they are voting on when it comes to the floor. One of the things that we have to take into account is the next problem can be avoided. And that's why, again, we welcome Democratic participation and we welcome public participation into getting to the bottom of who was the hidden hand. In voting today, we've also seen a spillover consequence of what happens when government reacts in a crisis. There was the old joke that is too unfortunately true, is that when in a crisis, government will throw your money at something and hope it goes away. We now have the corollary that when a political crisis happens that threatens politicians, they will rush to judgment and they will take money away as quickly as they can to solve it. We need to break that. I come from Michigan. We have an 11.6% unemployment rate. My constituents cannot understand an economic policy that pays people to stay in their jobs, especially when those were the people who caused the problem that cost them their jobs in the first place by creating a global credit crisis that brought us to the precipice of a global depression. They cannot understand the sanity behind the logic of keeping people who were smart enough to break something as if they were smart enough to fix it and rewarding them for it. They cannot understand how people who got rich causing the problem are now going to be overly compensated for fixing the problem that they caused. What they want is for us to be responsible. What they want in a time of economic chaos is for their subservient government to help reestablish order and equity to our economy. They want us to help build institutional trust again within the financial community. This amendment in front of us today did more to undercut the attempts to restore public confidence in financial institutions than anything I can think of. Because when you go home, the reason people do not want to put their hard-earned money out there is for fear of losing their jobs, is for fear of seeing their nest egg become smaller. They do not have faith in public and financial institutions that are proven no longer to be too big to fail, that appear to be too big to fix. And they are also very concerned that the economic chaos and institutional disorder that has affected them so direly in these past months is now being replicated by their federal government. A government that spends $1 trillion in a rush to judgment. A government that talks about a $3.6 trillion budget, that talks about $1 trillion tax increases. This is chaos to my constituents. And now we add to that the fact that amidst all the talk of $1 trillion borrowed, spent, $1 trillion taxed, they find out that no one in their government can tell them who wrote the amendment that let AIG executives receive bonuses. They deserve better than this. They deserve an answer. Because the first thing we have to do in the wake of this AIG bonus disaster is restore public confidence in the one institution they look to help provide order and sanity and equity within their lives in times of chaos. And that is their federal government. Let us not fail them again. I yield back to the gentleman from Ohio.
Well, I